Join us today for a, I guess, retrospective look at the Star Trek films, primarily the 6 original series films, although I wouldn't be surprised if we would mention some of the others, but we're going to be focusing on the original 6. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, which I don't really know why it has that particular title, because we know where he is, and they know where he is.
Well, I guess they weren't expecting his body to move.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, I'm not sure exactly why the torpedo soft landed on a planet.
Why do you revert to a child?
I don't know.
There's a lot of questions. It's probably best if we just don't ask.
Why did Savick have to
not become not Christianity anymore?
Well, and help Spock go through his first pon farr.
Yeah. So Star Trek 3 had a budget of $17 million, so a little bit more than The Wrath of Khan, and it made a little bit less, $76.4 million. So overall, I'm sure it was also still considered a success. By those numbers, that's what, 4, probably about 4 times as much of its budget. So, for my very, very quick math there. But yeah, so first of all, notably, Savick, who was played by Kirstie Alley in Star Trek 2, is all of a sudden played by someone else in this movie. I don't know this actress's name off the top of my head. And Sarek, who I'm assuming it's the guy from the original series that
Yes.
played him, right? Yeah. Sarek shows up asking Kirk if Spock performed this particular ritual, and I can't recall the name of it. But essentially, what we were talking about for part 2, it's he transferred his mind, his essence, his soul, if you will, into someone else, and Vulcans do that when they know they're going to die, so they can transfer it to like the overmind, the well of souls, the whatever back on Vulcan, where it can join with the others, essentially. And so Sarah comes to Kirk because Kirk is Spock's friend. You know, he knows Kirk is his best friend, and Kirk's just like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Sarah. Like, news to me, buddy. And so they're like, well, Spock surely would have done this. And they look at the footage. It's like, oh, well, he probably did it to Bones right here when your mind melded with him. So they go to find him, and well, he's
A little nutty at the moment,
yeah.
where he's talking to people about where he's trying to get back to Genesis.
Yeah, and the Federation is like cording the sector off because they want to try to keep it under wraps what happened there until they can figure it out, because the Klingons and the Romulans and everyone else would probably dearly love to know that the Federation has developed the Doomsday weapon. And so he's doing that. Scotty's working on the Excelsior and the transwarp drive. And everyone else is just kind of chilling, right? Like, was Uhura assigned to do something? She was in uniform.
Yeah, she was, I think, just doing security for the transporter.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where the plot starts driving. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
we know that, which I always wondered why they had to take the Enterprise out of all of the ships and why they couldn't take something smaller, but because of everybody's position, they were able to easily formulate a plan to, hijack.
Basically steal the Enterprise.
And thinking back on it, out of all of the movies, I'd say that's probably just the most fun of any of the Star Trek movies, at least the original 6, because it was just, it was like, a heist movie at that point.
Yeah.
And it didn't take itself too seriously, and, the Klingons that they meet later, were just characters, just over-the-top characters.
Yes, led by Christopher Lloyd as a Klingon.
And, but the whole scene about them stealing the Enterprise and, the Excelsior going into pursuit, and just,
Puttering out. I think it literally has like, not that noise, but it's really close to that kind of noise where they try to go to transwarp.
Yep.
Or it's like, like a transmission stalling out or something, because a giant spaceship, of course, sounds like that. But no, to your point on the Enterprise, I feel like that's probably because similar to Star Wars, there are people that feel like the Enterprise itself is a character, kind of like the Millennium Falcon almost. I'm not one of those people. When I saw the Force Awakens trailer, I'm not one of those people that peed their pants when they saw the Millennium Falcon. I was like, well, of course, Millennium Falcon's a new Star Wars movie. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, the Millennium Falcon!
Well,
I don't know what the hell's wrong with those people.
well, and if they also realize that the Corellian YT 1300 freighter is like one of the most common freighters used throughout the entire galaxy.
Sure.
But at the same time, and this is going to sound terrible, but I think I was more saddened by the death of the Enterprise than I was at the death of Kirk's son.
Wow. That's cold. I mean, in all fairness, if you watch the movie, I think Kirk was too. Like, Kirk, once he kills Kluge, like, he goes aboard the Klingon ship and is like, the guy's like, oh, you'll have to kill me to get the information out of me. And he's like, all right, I'll kill you once you tell me. And then he's like, fine, I'll kill you later. It's like, Kirk's already popping jokes and his son's dead. It's not till, like, Star Trek 6 that it really, like 3 movies later that he's like, fuck the Klingons and the horse they rode in on, you know.
Because, I mean, the one scene where they beam down to the planet and you see the Enterprise burning up in the atmosphere, and he's like, my God knows, what have I done?
You what you always did, Jim. Turn death into a chance at life. Pretty sure that's what Bones says.
Yes, yes.
But, yeah, and was that the original or the A?
That was the original, because the A is another Constitution class that they...
That they get at the very end of 4?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was a refit that was going to be for another ship. I don't know which one it was.
They just rechristened it.
They rechristened it. Yep.
Yeah. So, yes, as Jim mentioned, Kirk's son that we just got to meet in the last movie gets killed in this movie. The Klingon commander wants to prove a point, tells his men down there, kill someone, don't care who, and they pass over the 2 Vulcans to kill David. So, then the heavily undercrewed Enterprise shows up, fires the 2 torpedoes they have, and then they're like, yes, we're going to surrender, just give us a minute, and they arm the self-destruct. And then they beam down to the surface. The other Klingons beam over. They're like, "There's no one here, but the computer's saying something." What's it saying? Hang on. 4, 3. He's like, "Get out of there!" Like, where the hell were they going to go in 3 seconds? But yeah, then the Enterprise self-destructs and fiery ruin crashes down to the Genesis planet. And unfortunately, the Genesis planet does not resurrect the Enterprise.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That probably actually accelerated the destruction of the Genesis planet. Was it because of using the nebula or the proto-matter that the planet was unstable?
Yeah, because David took a shortcut.
Apple didn't fall far from the tree there, huh?
But neat thing about the, I don't know if you remember in that scene where the Enterprise is first detonating and it looks like the ship is melting. Styrofoam.
Ah, well, there you go.
Painted styrofoam and they just burn it from the inside.
Well,
it works.
Yeah, you don't have that then. But yeah, so they end up with the Klingon bird of prey, and then they take Bones to Vulcan, and then Uhura is there waiting for him, right?
Yep.
And she was the only one that wasn't there, because were Scotty and Sulu also with him?
Yes, because they piloted the stolen bird of prey back.
Okay. And so then they go to Vulcan and the bird of prey, and they perform the ritual. Well, now they're going to transfer Spock's mind into new Spock's body, basically, because the Genesis planet essentially resurrected him and then aged him very quickly. So he had to go through Ponfar several times, and yeah. So then at the end, like he's walking away, he's like Spock, and he's like, "You're Jim," I think is what he says.
Yeah.
"You're my friend." Something like that, you know, so it's acknowledged. So we can tell it is Spock, but he's a little shaky, but it's him. And so that's where that's where Star Trek 3 ends. They never do find out what they did with the one Klingon guy.
I do love the continuity of all of these, because now the first one does not feed into the Wrath of Khan, but the end of Wrath of Khan...
Yeah, 2, 3, and 4 are one continuous chain. It's like a trilogy within the overall set.
Because they get the damaged Enterprise to space dock, and this into the second one, and in the beginning of the third one, they're flying it out of, stealing it out of space dock, blowing it up, stealing a bird of prey, and then from, going from Vulcan when they were flying their way back to Earth,
Prey, yeah.
and the bird of prey is where the fourth movie will pick back up. Well, we're
yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say on the movies.
so we got 2 hours in on this, just about.
All right.
So if you guys can sit through and listen to all this, definitely comment on that.
I'll probably break it up in editing. So.
And even then, if they won't watch part 1, part 2, or if we break it into 6 parts.
Yeah, I'll probably. Well, folks, depending on how you're watching this, I have either broken it up per movie or per like chunks of time or something, or I have just let it go. Because there's one really long video we did one time that I broke up into 3 parts, but then I also posted just the whole full length thing. I'll get it right here in a second. And that might be what I do here. I might post the individual segments and then post the full length with the timestamps or something. But at any rate, if you're watching the full length one, or if you just watched one of the others, or since I'm probably just going to take this scene right here and slap it at the end of each of the videos, so I don't have to record this 6 times. It's a little editing trick for those who don't know. Thank you for watching. Definitely comment down the bottom. Do you want to see more of us talking about the others? Any particular part of these you might want to know more about? Want to know about like other random movies that DeForest Kelly, Leonard Nimoy, or William Shatner are in by any chance? We can talk about Night of the Lepus. You want to hear about giant rabbits terrorizing Texas? I think it's Texas.
Or if you want to know more about obscure video formats like the one shown here.
Yeah. I'll be able to dig up a Betamax somewhere. But just let us know. You want to hear about the other Star Trek stuff. Once Strange New World Season 2 comes out, we'll probably do a video once all the episodes are out. We might do weekly things, but that's probably a little taxing on our schedule. So we'll probably do a wrap-up once they're all out. But otherwise, thanks again for watching. Comment. But otherwise, like, share, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. But otherwise, make it so.
Engage.
Engage. That's better. We'll go with that.